Hi Scorpio, welcome to June 2020. This is eclipse season. In case you couldn't already feel it, you probably do. This eclipse season is the astrological and celestial checkpoint of the year, where you start to see what doors are starting to close and what doors are going to open. And I think, true to nature, being a fixed sign, sometimes the thing that gets most of your attention will always be the doors closing rather than the doors opening by default. Part of the Scorpio karmic destiny is to master your own personal power and understand that soul regeneration is your forte. So an eclipse season for Scorpio is a pretty big deal. And for you guys, it is the lunar eclipse partial in Sagittarius on the 5th of June, which wants to close a door of sorts. Now, this particular full moon is squaring Mars in Pisces, Pisces being in your sector of creativity, being in romance, but also that Mars is your traditional ruler. And there's a few things that may come up that make you see where over the last 6 months you've been holding on to some anger, some lower vibrational energies that could really do with getting the heave-ho. It's about time. The Sagittarian energy itself is very philosophical, but not only that, the new moon solar eclipse in Cancer, your philosophical, adventurous part of the sky, is asking you to bring in unexpected opportunities and change, welcoming them with open arms. So, Four of Wands. Unexpected change, a pleasant surprise, well worth celebrating. For a lot of you, it could be an addition to the family, it could be a family situation, it could be a relationship. Something is bringing you great joy, and it is asking you, Scorpio, that regardless of what else is going on in your mind right now, to welcome in the good stuff and to keep that to the forefront of your mind. The philosophical ideals of a Sagittarius energy, of 9th house energy, both very potent this month for you, is that anything, Scorpio, that is no longer in alignment with your ideals, with your higher purpose, with your personal philosophy, has to go. Be it an outdated belief system, be it a job, be it a relationship, be it an unhealthy dynamic, you're ready to let go of something that just doesn't fit who you are. You are evolving into something spectacular, and eclipses want you to drive that home. They want you to go forward. Of course, a new moon solar eclipse in Cancer is ironic, because it is a nostalgic sign. And of course, Venus is retrograde in Gemini, your 8th house of intimacy, of deep, deep ties to things, to people, to jobs, to anything. Venus, the Empress. But the universe really wants to let you know, Scorpio, that whatever you're letting go of in your heart, in your life, in your path, only wants to bring you abundance. The lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is in your sector of worth. It is in your sector of money, finances. This looks like a pretty picture. Although it's opposite Venus, and Venus is in your sector of shared resources, of bigger money, this is a time to get very, very, very clear about what outdated beliefs in abundance you'd like to let go, because right now your belief system, your perception of money, of stability, of self-worth, of value could be a little limited, and the stars would like you to think a little bit bigger. You know, get comfortable in your head with the number you would like to earn. Get comfortable in how you would like people to appreciate you, to see you, because Scorpios, at least the ones that I know, myself included, oftentimes sell themselves short. And it is just to do with that fixed modality of feeling like security is important. But the second that illusion is broken and a Scorpio or any fixed sign realizes that their definition of security was never secure in the first place, it's a huge transitional shift, and it's very uncomfortable, but it's very necessary. As Jim Carrey said, his dad wanted to be an entertainer, but he became an accountant because he thought it was more stable, and then he lost his job. There is a lot to be said for just trusting that you can do what you want to do. because I think that's where your mind is at, what you really want to do. Gemini season has always been for Scorpios about aligning yourself with your true purpose, more than ever now with the North Node in Gemini. Venus goes direct on the 25th. Neptune, Scorpio. The Nine of Pentacles. Neptune goes direct on the 23rd. No, Neptune goes retrograde on the 23rd. You're going to see a lot more clearly. There's a bit of a fog at the minute, so you're uncertain. But you know that you can't invest any more time, any more energy into a black hole. You know that you can't contribute all your time, all your resources, all your energy, all your feelings into something that just isn't going to work. That can't go any further than it's gone. You have to let go of what's no longer serving you. And maybe for a lot of you it is anger. And it's maybe anger at yourself because you made a choice that you wish you hadn't. And maybe it's anger at somebody else for treating you a certain way. Scorpios are very good at holding on to anger. A lot of your karmic path with that soul generation energy is knowing when to realize that you're not stinging anybody else, you're actually stinging yourself. Because your understanding of the shadow side is actually what saves humanity a lot of the time. If you can get out of your own way. 5 of Wands. I'm not saying that everything is going to fall easily into your lap with the new moon in Cancer. There will always be, no matter where you go as a Scorpio, competition. There will always be a bit of a fight for something that you really, really want. There will always be an inner turmoil, maybe all 3, but you're more than capable of overcoming that at this point. The full moon in your sign last month has probably shown you a lot of stuff and brought up a lot of feelings, and it might not have brought it up on the full moon, but it certainly came up the weeks that followed. And if you can't make a decision for yourself, the eclipse is going to make it for you. And you don't like that. You really don't like that. So, Mercury goes retrograde in Cancer on the 18th. And you start to revisit Queen of Pentacles. There's a lot of nurturing energy. There's a lot of abundant financial energy. There's a lot of good flow. I think that the lunar eclipse in your sector of worth is really giving you an awakening of sorts. It's really giving you a more intense look at your purpose. And where there is competition with an earth sign or aggravation with an earth sign, be wary that maybe a lot of it is coming from one person wanting the other thing that the other person has, wanting what you feel like you don't have. And feeling quite like it's a struggle to get to that point. You're confusing yourself in your head about how difficult things should be, and things are not, you know, the route to success is not straightforward. But you can see the evidence of what you want coming forward. So, where there is a struggle with an earth sign, there needs to be more talk about the possibilities than the problems. Where there is any concern over money, it is an abundance mindset that you need to change, because you need to realize that you deserve more and you're being shown that you deserve more. You might not be being shown it in a way that you like, but it's leading you to be very, very, very powerful and master your own personal power. You could also be dealing with a fire sign. An Aries, a Leo, a Sagittarius, or this could be you wanting, oh my goodness, Sun, you wanting to be that person. It's a pretty picture. Where you're dealing with a fire sign person, it looks really, really, really promising, regardless of future concerns of where it can go, what can happen, where it's going to, how it's going to work, the formalities, the details. Getting bogged down in the how. You know where I'm from, we say how, but I'm not going to say it because you'll make fun of me. With the how, rather than the why. Focus on the why. Your part of soul generation and personal power is understanding that you have a lot more power, a lot more control, a lot more magic in you than you give yourself credit for. And whenever Scorpio feels like they don't have that power, that magic, that magnetism, they start to try and control things. You don't have to do that here. I think for a lot of you, if you're dealing with an earth sign, there is a need to control. But if it's not an earth sign, there is a need to understand just what it is that you're doing and why, rather than, as I say, H-O-W, rather than the how. It's the why. And believe it or not, Scorpio, you are mostly in competition with yourself, and anybody else that is aggravating you and pushing you to feel like you're constantly competing for something where the struggle is consistent. Step out of the frame for a second and see where maybe a lot of this is coming from you, that everyone else is you pushed out and you are expecting this struggle, expecting this competition. It is part of being a sign ruled by Mars. You will understand that from your Aries companions. There is a lot of the time competition, and a lot of the time it flares up most significantly where you're not where you're supposed to be. But sometimes in going after what it is that you really want, you start arguing with yourself about the fundamentals about it. And I think a lot of this month is wrestling with yourself about the fundamentals, Scorpio. The way that things are turning out might not feel as if you can control them, as if you can plan them. But if you learn to trust a little bit in the process, and you trust a little bit in yourself, and you trust a little bit in others, you will see this almighty sense of flow that you've not felt in a while. Particularly, as I say, when Neptune goes retrograde, Venus goes direct, even though Mercury is kicking up a little bit of a fuss in retrograde, you will start to see where going with the flow and trusting the process allows the things that you really, really, really want to come to you quicker. And I'm not saying that just as a law of attraction standpoint, I'm saying that due to the eclipses. The new moon solar eclipse in Cancer wants to bring you an unexpected gift. Be it entrepreneurship, be it a new job, be it a new relationship, be it, something that just makes you feel very warm and fuzzy. Very warm and fuzzy, very soft. Even looking at, underneath the sun, there was you. Queen of Cups, and do you know what the difference was? Do you know what was coming underneath that? The Five of Cups and the Five of Swords, shifting your perception to one of, here's the two cups being offered, rather than the three spilt because you trusted the wrong people in the past and you maybe disappointed yourself in doing so. We all do it. I said it last month and a couple of people were kind of cross about it. I understand, because I understand the impatience. But I had said that by Leo season, you're really sitting very pretty with the thing that you want the most. Whether that it's sitting in your lap, whether that doors are opening for you, they are opening for you this summer in particular. But I know that a lot of people said, I don't want to wait till Leo season for the thing that I want the most. And I understand that impatience. But if you couldn't wait 2 months for something that you really, really want to be in your life, then perhaps you don't want it that much. Do you know what I mean? You have to get into this flow state of trust and understanding that your soul is going through a bit of a regenerational period right now. Your heart is understanding its alchemy for the first time in a long time. You're seeing that your heart can actually be an alchemist rather than a manipulator. It's like the magician's energy. It's very much that you have all this power, you have all the tools outside of yourself, but with the Empress energy and the Queen of Cups and the Sun, you have to see what's inside yourself more than anything else. The mastery within, the belief within, the trust within, the flow. The Queen of Cups is very trusting, and the Sun is very energetic. It's very trusting. It's very naive, but in a good way, because a lot of the time naivety can actually bring us very close to what we want, rather than blocking it with mistrust, which you've learned over time. The reason you've learned it over time is not because you were meant to suffer, but it was because you were meant to regenerate, and understand things a little deeper. Whether it is motherhood, whether it is starting a family, whether it is starting a new home, it's all looking very, very nice. Saturn, of course, is retrograding now in your 4th house of home, and you're learning a few things about that. You're getting very clear about what type of environment you want to thrive in, what type of nest you want for yourself. But more importantly than that, Scorpio, you're getting very clear when it comes to money about how much you deserve and how you're going to get what you want. I really love your cards. I have not seen such a good hand for you in a very, very, very long time. And as much as, you know, we keep these very positive and very upbeat, this really is a good hand. And you know why it is, Scorpio? It's because you're making this space. And you're allowing something different to come in, and you're embracing the change. The eclipses really want to spoil you with this, but first they're going to make you get very, very, very clear about where your mind is, where your value is. And I think, Scorpio, for a long time you've needed that reevaluation. One of the big things about June as well that I will touch on before we go into the extended part of this reading is that there is still a bit of a gateway to the past, and a lot of you are revisiting the past. A lot of you are thinking about old situations, old people, maybe they appear or whatever. One of the best things that I've ever learned about is the concept of cord cutting, whereby you can remove the unhealthy attachments, because energetic cords between people are very intense, but with a Scorpio person who has such an intense intimacy with people, with their relationships, with their feelings, cord cutting is quite important to you, particularly when you're holding on to somebody from the past, or when you're letting somebody from the past back in again. Just be mindful that your happiness is key. Your happiness is the most important, and you owe it to yourself to get very, very clear on how much you actually deserve. And maybe that's a situation that can be revisited from the past. Maybe it's somebody new, maybe it's something, you know, things can turn around very interestingly in eclipse season, but the main point is that at the beginning of the month you're willing to let go of something that's been for a long time abusing your trust in yourself, your trust in the universe, your trust in the divine, your trust in something bigger than you, even though it's all connected. But you're being asked at the beginning of June to let go of something that no longer aligns with your ideals, and by the end of the month you're being asked to embrace the unexpected, embrace something new, embrace something very special. So stay open-minded. Stay very open-minded. Gemini, as your 8th house counterpart, is kind of like you, but your most flexible sense of self. And pay attention to any pain in your right knee, because that's a fear of a future that you can't control, and it's also a sign from the universe that you're being too rigid. Just an FYI. We'll get into this extended. See you there, Scorpio. Bye.